There's also something else I need to apologize for.
Oh, no. No, you don't need to apologize.
No, I do. Which I need to own for how things ended between us.
Sophie is a chef who has a boyfriend named Gordon. He tries to keep up with Sophie by trying to learn how to cook and hopefully gets a good feedback from his girlfriend. Sophie is well loved by her peers and is known for being a good chef. One morning, as she went out to buy vegetables, she is surprised to see Ruby, who is actually her ex-girlfriend.
Ruby! It's been a while.
Yeah, wow.
Sophie feeling awkward seeing Ruby again after almost 3 years. Ruby is in town to see Sophie and has a very special offer for her.
What are you doing in New York City?
Actually, looking for you.
Oh, boy.
Sophie went to see Gordon and told him about the offer, but she never mentioned that Ruby was her ex-girlfriend. Ruby offered Sophie to try out an interview for the executive chef position but will be in Quebec. Gordon is happy for Sophie. But when he realized it will be in Canada, he needs to decide if he will go with Sophie and meet her French-speaking family for the first time. Gordon spoke with his father as he thought of proposing to Sophie. He has no doubts that Sophie is the one for him, and so he asked his father if he can have his mother's ring to give Sophie when he proposed. And so Gordon went with Sophie. His first meeting with Sophie's family was a bit awkward as most of them speak French, and Gordon just knows simple words.
Gordon, come meet my family.
I understand. I've been there. Is it harder on them? Is it harder on...
While having dinner, Gordon tries to fit in with the family by trying to talk with them. A doorbell comes to their attention and Sophie was the one who opened the door. She then was surprised to see Ruby.
Ruby! Hi, you're here.
Well, you couldn't join us for drinks, so I brought the drinks to you.
Since they were ex-lovers, Sophie's family knows Ruby, and seems the family is okay with Sophie's relationship with Ruby before. This was also the first time Ruby gets to meet Gordon, and so the family with Ruby and Gordon gets to talk, and Ruby shared stories about how good Sophie is when it comes to cooking. That's why she thought of her when she gets to have her own cooking show and restaurant.
So you're the famous Ruby Collins.
And you must be the one and only Gordon.
I gotta say, when Sophie told me about you, I pictured someone a little more like Julia Childs, not someone so...
Dazzling.
Dazzling, that's right.
On trouve une chaise pour Ruby? Oui.
The next day, Sophie is so excited and nervous for the interview. Gordon woke up seeing a note from Sophie and with his breakfast. He then tries to check if there's anyone inside the house. He went inside a room where he saw an old photo album. While checking the photos, that's when he knew there's something between Ruby and Sophie and that they were lovers before.
What the fuck?
Sophie needs to focus, as she has to compete with 2 other chefs for the position. Ruby came and told them to prepare a dish, then she will decide who gets the executive chef position. Ruby is not convinced with Sophie's dish, and that she could have done better.
Sophie, I prefer no taste than this culinary genocide.
I couldn't get the phone to rise.
I don't want your excuses, Sophie. I want you to execute. Because that's the title, right? Executive chef.
Gordon talks to his father and told him how come Sophie didn't mention to him about Ruby. Then he talks to Sophie's brother and asks about Ruby. And that's when he gets the information that indeed Sophie had a relationship with Ruby before. He asked why they broke up. Then Sophie's brother said that Ruby keeps on cheating on Sophie. And when Sophie finally caught Ruby, that's when Sophie finally decided to end their relationship. Ruby apologized to Sophie for being so hard. She makes it clear that she offered this chance to Sophie not because they were lovers before, but she believes what Sophie can do. And Ruby apologized for what she has done to Sophie. She realized it was really her mistake why their relationship didn't work, but says she is happy for Sophie to have found Gordon. Despite feeling happy for Sophie, it can be seen that Ruby still has feelings for Sophie, and maybe she is trying to win her back by taking in Sophie to work for her.
You deserved so much better, which you seem to have found in Gordon.
It all worked out for the best. Like you said. I found Gordon and you. I mean, you. Look at everything you've accomplished.
Yeah, I suppose.
Gordon tells Sophie that he knows she had a relationship with Ruby before. He feels cheated that Sophie did not mention to him about Ruby, and now there's a chance she will work for her.
It's definitely something. It's a fairly large omission, don't you think? Working for your ex definitely should have factored into the conversation.
I'm sorry.
Sophie said sorry in that it doesn't matter now, since she loves Gordon. Now, Gordon seems to be keeping up with Ruby in getting Sophie's attention. He sees Ruby as his competition, but this only made things complicated.
Boyfriend to work day, or is he gonna kindly get the fuck out of my kitchen?
Gordon, please.
I'm so sorry. Boyfriend reads you loud and clear.
This time around, Sophie made a special dish, and Ruby approves it. Gordon starts to feel jealous as he sees photos uploaded on social media that Sophie spends more time with Ruby. He even feels belittled when Ruby announced to Sophie's family that her cooking show will be held in their farm. This is something big for Sophie and her father, as they are facing financial problems, and Ruby's offer will help their business. This made Gordon upset and told Sophie as if he can't do anything right, and for Ruby, she is perfect in everything. Sophie explained to him that Ruby is just trying to help their family, as their business is falling apart. Gordon and Sophie went out for dinner, and surprisingly, Ruby was there too with a friend. Gordon tells Sophie not to entertain them, but Sophie just can't say no. Sophie got a call that her grandmother just died. During the funeral, Ruby somehow gets this chance to be even more closer to Sophie and let Gordon feel jealous. The filming for Ruby's cooking show started, and this even made Gordon feel more jealous as Sophie gets to spend more time with Ruby. The night they get to celebrate for the success of the show, Gordon had enough drinks, and when he saw Ruby with Sophie, he again felt so jealous. Even more when Ruby announced that Sophie got the executive chef position. And because of this, Gordon interrupts everyone and told them that Ruby is just trying to get the family's attention so she can win back Sophie. The two had an argument that ended up Gordon leaving, as Ruby came and told him to just leave Sophie alone. As Sophie started her job at Ruby's restaurant, she feels so excited but still thinks of Gordon. Ruby talks to Sophie and feels sorry for her for what Gordon has done. She now begins to flirt with Sophie and kissed her. This comes as a shock to Sophie and pushed Ruby away from her. Ruby said that she knows Sophie wants her back and that she saved her family's business from bankruptcy. That's when Sophie realized that Ruby just tricked her, and she even felt humiliated when Ruby told her that without her help, she is nothing. She then punched Ruby and left her and decides to quit her job. Sophie then looks for Gordon and was able to patch up things and ended up getting married and had their own restaurant.
Want more queer content? Then please subscribe and hit the notification bell.